Hookup on music featuring your main man, Tony the Sugar Baggy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hookup on Music, episode 69.
Nice.
Where 60 episodes ago, my main man here, Sean, from Philadelphia, joined me. So I thought, who to bring back great for this 69th episode? The man from Philly himself. How is it going?
Going good, man.
Good. Glad to have you. The Phillies are obviously playing right now, and this Ranger Suarez, is he the real deal? It's his numbers.
He's pitching tonight. He's a little off tonight. It's really bad weather here tonight. They're playing in like cold rain. The rain's kind of stopped now, but he's not as sharp as he's been most of the year, and the weather's a factor. Phillies have made a couple bad plays in the game because of the weather, a couple errors.
Now, you said you're going to be going to the game, you said Friday? Is that what you
Friday
said?
Night.
Friday night. Okay, so you've been to probably a lot of Philly games.
Oh, yeah.
What is, for the White Sox, every player has a walk-up song. Did they do that in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
So what are, through the years of you going to Philadelphia games, what's some of the ones that you remember the most?
So Chase Utley was notorious his entire career. He had Kashmir by Led Zeppelin.
Oh,
that was his walk-up. Even when he came back, when they did his a couple years ago, they did like a retirement ceremony for him. When he came out on the field to wave to the fans, they played Kashmir on the loudspeaker. So that was his. I mean, that's honestly the biggest one that stands out of all. He never changed it. A lot of other Phillies always changed it over time. Like every so often they would change their music, but he had that his entire career.
I always thought it was cool, especially closers who had awesome songs.
Like
Trevor Hoffman had Hell's Bells. Mariano Rivera had Enter Sandman.
Yeah, so like I know I don't know if he had it in Boston. Papelbon had Dropkick Murphys, I believe. In Philly he had For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica.
That's awesome.
When he warmed up.
Both great picks. We talk about this a lot, like what is a song that you would come out to of the bullpen if you were coming out? And that one is one that, so many songs. I mean, Kashmir is a great song.
Yeah.
You just saying that that's a great song.
I've thought about that myself, about like if I was a baseball player, like whether I was a pitcher or a hitter, like what would my music be? I can't decide. Like there's so many songs. I would be somebody that would change it up a lot, I think. But there's a lot of guys now that have like they have 3 songs, and they'll each time they come up to the plate, it'll be each one,
And that's kind of how I would be too. I often think I'd be me and the music person up there would be in contact all the time.
Like Bryce Harper's got, I think, 3 or 4 songs, and every at bat it plays a different one.
The sound system at the we still call it Comiskey or whatever, but it's the U.S. Cellular field, I think, is where we're at right now. And that being said, the sound I like when it's loud, but then again, it could be like the Mets, who the Phillies are facing tonight, and they had that guy who had that song. What was it, last year?
He's still coming out to it. Yeah, he was at Narco.
Well, he get hurt last year though.
Yeah, well, yeah, he got hurt. So I guess technically, I think they started it in late 2022.
They did.
Because he got hurt in spring. No, he got hurt in the World Baseball Classic last year. But yeah, when they were in New York 2 nights ago, Phillies actually had him. They had him blow the save. They got the win, but he came out to that trumpet song, which I can't stand it.
But that's what I mean, is that I don't have his numbers in front of me, but that's the second thing, is when you have big productions, you got to have big production numbers. I mean, can you imagine Trevor Hoffman coming out with Hell's Bells, which I think he did towards the end, but for the majority, I mean, his ERA was always really low, 2s and 1s, which adds to the song he's coming out to.
I mean, I like was it Joan Duran? I think his name is, for the Twins.
Yep.
he comes out, they play the Undertaker's gong a bunch of times.
Oh yeah.
The lights go out and stuff, and then it goes into some Hispanic song. I'm not sure what it is. But I watched the video of his entrance like last week. I thought it was pretty cool with the Undertaker. I mean, I'm the biggest Undertaker mark in the world. So you do something.
That's it. You know, and you bringing that up, we were talking pre-show just about all through the years, all the different themes through the 90s and the 2000s that have come through WWE. Here's one of them right here. So what I always first think of, because, man, when he came out, and that
he was blown up by the time he got in the ring.
Oh yeah. But
yeah, I mean, Ultimate Warriors is classic.
Had a memorable theme.
I got CDs over here of all like the WWF albums that came out with all the entrance music.
Perfect. Because one that I had a while ago, I don't know if you had it, but ECW, they came out with it.
I didn't have it, but I remember it.
A lot of cool songs again on there, but those WWF ones, I'm sure that's what they were called before it was changed to WWE. Yeah. It's got loaded classics.
Yeah, I mean, I love Ultimate Warriors. I mean, it's not my top, I don't think, but one of my all-time favorites is $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
You know what? That's what I was going to bring up next. Every time we had the show, it's like you used to think when I was going to go, money.
I love Ted DiBiase's music.
My dad, he liked that one a lot too. He's
so good.
Everybody's got a price. Yeah. He was awesome.
I met Ted DiBiase a few years ago, man. He was cool. I told him, I said, your entrance music is goated.
And sometimes I'm not gonna lie. One that I didn't remember it was as good as it was the Bushwhackers. Recently I did like a little piece with the action figures, and I didn't realize their song actually, it's got some bounce to it.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of those songs really catchy in a lot of different ways.
I think definitely it's hard for me to pick like my number one favorite wrestling theme, but definite top 3 is the Brood, Gangrel.
Oh yeah.
That is just, man, I don't know if it doesn't get better than that, it's close, man. It's so good.
He'd come out with those fangs. Oh man, that was a good era for just the music that these
he had for such like a mid-card guy, like his entrance with his music was it was so good. It was so good.
Well, some of those mid-card wrestlers, like sometimes the cheesier the song was pretty cool too. Like the catchier it was, like because of the time period in which it was going on. I mean, of course, you had Stone Cold Steve Austin's theme.
Oh, so good.
That wasn't.
He had so not the Disturbed one. He came out with the Disturbed one, which I do like. It was like fall of 2000. And then when he turned heel in 2001, he got this new theme. It still had the glass break at the beginning, but man, it was just in your face, like really fast. You'd have to look it up. A lot of times if you look it up on YouTube, it's like listed under like Stone Cold's like Alliance theme. They did the Alliance. Oh, it's so good.
That's the one thing that I was a little taken back from is you got this awesome theme with the Undertaker. You got the original theme. It's awesome. And then he comes out with the Kid Rock, American Badass, which using Metallica, and then I thought personally it was a step down from the awesome.
Well, I mean, I like I said, Undertaker's my all-time favorite wrestler. I finally got to meet him a couple years ago.
How was that?
I'm surprised. I subscribed to a Patreon where he does a podcast now and does Q&As.
That's awesome. I've heard about that.
He talks about like. That's why he was able to be relevant for as long as he was, is because he always knew when to make a change.
I think it's more for me, it's not really. I think it's just Kid Rock's association with the song. Like if any other band, I probably I'm not the hugest Kid Rock fan, but I think that's a little.
I like a couple songs, but I'm not a big fan either. But
Bow with the Rock, Cowboy, the classics from the. That first album that he came out with.
Yeah, he's got a song called Somebody's Gotta Feel This that was on Road Rash 3D on PlayStation. I remember that song.
That's a deep cut. He opened up one time when I saw Metallica. The
Yeah.
Seventh Dust. He was there back in the when we're talking about these wrestlers in the late 90s.
Yeah, Undertaker, man, he just, man, I'll
That's
tell you
cool,
what,
though,
when
that you got to meet him.
I got to meet him, he does a thing called a One Dead Man show where he sometimes, like during like the big WWE like events, he'll go to the city and he does a One Dead Man show where he's on stage and you're there and he's telling stories from his career. And he's done 2 of them in Philly. I went to both. The first one that I went to, I paid for the VIP and I got to meet him beforehand. Man, I was literally shaking before I got up there. I took my mom with me to that because she's loved The Undertaker because she used to watch wrestling with me in the 90s.
That's awesome.
So I took her with me. It was because her birthday was like a week later. So I took her for her birthday to meet The Undertaker. And man, it was awesome. I was like, man, I've waited 25 years to meet you. And he was like, here I am.
Wait 25 years a year.
Yeah, I met him back. It was back in 2022.
See, that's the thing is that, before you were talking about how, which was amazing that you got to go see the solar eclipse.
Yeah.
But then you missed out there in Philadelphia, WrestleMania, which obviously you saw who came out at the very end at this point. It was The Undertaker. That would have been really cool then. That's how I am. I would be way up in my nosebleed seats looking down at The Undertaker.
Yeah. Man, I still remember the very first WWF show I ever went to. I was 12 years old. It was in Philly. It was a house show. And The Undertaker was in the main event. And I have a picture, like an old picture that you got developed of me. I took a picture of my disposable camera. He walked like right in, because where I was sitting, they didn't have the fancy, stages for house shows back then. It was just literally a curtain and a walkway. And where I was sitting, I was able to run up to the security gate and watch the wrestlers walk by and slap some of their hands and stuff. And he walked right by me, and I had this awesome picture of him in his long black leather trench coat.
That's awesome.
And I still remember the main event of that match of that night too. Undertaker did a tag team with Ken Shamrock against Owen Hart and a British Bulldog. Never forget it.
This is like the 3rd or 4th show that we've done together, and man, the experiences that you've had meeting, everyone from awesome actors to cool wrestlers. It's cool that you're able, you've been able to get out there and do something awesome like that. I mean, just talking about the our favorite movie of all time, 3 O'Clock High. I mean, which is always
which has great music by Tangerine Dream.
And that's really just Tangerine Dream in general in the 80s, man. They were part of quite a few good movies.
There's a song in 3 O'Clock High that I really like, the scene where Jerry's on the roof thinking about changing his mind to go fight Buddy. That song that plays as he's making his decision, and he goes into the classroom and grabs his books and he punches the locker. Like, that song is, man, I love that song. It gets me fired up.
To be a band that can just kind of, put out a music that fits into movies, it's an art. It's an art. That was an art in themselves for them in the 80s.
Yeah.
I what's crazy about them is that they got started in 1967. So when you hear kind of what they're putting out in 3 O'Clock High, quite the difference, They weren't putting out that kind of, which is cool that a band.
And if I'm not mistaken, weren't they from Germany?
Tangerine Dream. Yes, Berlin.
Germany?
Berlin, Germany. Yes. But recently, I think it was in October, which is kind of recent. But you went and seen, wasn't it Depeche Mode?
Oh yeah. Oh God. It was so good. So good.
Was this your first time seeing them?
Yeah.
Was it? Awesome.
See, I'd always, I've always known who they are, like, for a long time. I always knew who they were because they've been around for so long. I knew some songs, but I just randomly, like, out of the blue, would start listening to more. Like, everybody knows Enjoy the Silence and Just Can't Get Enough and Personal Jesus and all those songs, which are great songs still. But I was like, I really like these songs. Like, let me just start listening to, like, more. Man, I just fell in love with them. And when I heard that they were coming, I was like, I got to go see them. Because the thing that there's a certain YouTube video of a live performance of Enjoy the Silence that I saw. I'd have to send you the link of. I might have even sent it to you before. I don't remember, but this is a certain live performance, and there's this part of the show where he's got the crowd singing the chorus to that song, and Dave Gahan is just staring at the crowd like, holy crap, like I have this crowd in the palm of my hands. And I just watched that and I was like, man, I want to see that live.
Do you have Paramount Plus?
I think my brother-in-law might have it.
Okay. Well, if you do or get an opportunity, there is a amazing Depeche Mode documentary on there. And it's called 101. And it's pretty much them in like it's like 88 or 89 at a concert in the bowl in what is that in California?
Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah, Hollywood Bowl. And backstage and just oh man, it seems to be I'm somebody again empathetically, just like when you talk about meeting the Undertaker, I could place myself next to you and be like, wow, man, that's awesome. So like one night we just turned on the lights and me and my wife watched it and it was amazing. I've seen them twice. We saw them, I believe it was 2012. Always a great show. Wished I would have seen them on this last tour, and I'm hoping it's not their last tour.
It's funny. I literally just said that to my wife yesterday or the day before. We were talking about, we were talking about something, and we were talking about concerts because I just took my wife to see Kelly Clarkson. That's why.
Oh.
We went to Atlantic City Friday night. I took her to see Kelly Clarkson. It was my birthday gift to her. Her birthday was in February. So we went and saw Kelly Clarkson. And obviously she's not my type of music, but damn, she puts on a good show.
Did she put on a good show?
Oh yeah. It was funny. She actually forgot the lyrics to one of her songs and she started singing it. And you could tell something was off, and she points the microphone out to the crowd like she was trying to have the crowd say it so she could remember. And it's a thing, like nobody cares if you mess, like nobody cared. She just started over. Who cares?
What's the venue called? It
was actually at the Hard Rock Casino. There's a little arena inside the Hard Rock called the Oates Arena. My wife and I saw her there in 2012 too.
Got one 15 minutes from here, a Hard Rock casino with the amphitheater inside, which is it's actually really big.
Yeah, I don't know how many
Mushaga to Jerry Seinfeld come through this place, so it's like quite.
Yeah. But back to Depeche Mode. The concert was great, but we had these two girls in front of us, man. They were just a nuisance the whole freaking night, vaping, blowing smoke, standing. Like we were up in the upper deck. Like you don't need to stand when you're in the upper deck.
No.
I'm not saying don't do it ever for whatever, but man, they just kept standing and standing. And it got to the point, like at the end when Depeche Mode came out for their encore, like I couldn't see anything. I didn't see anything for just can't get enough. They did Personal Jesus at the end. I couldn't see the stage because everybody was standing up. I couldn't see a damn thing, and they're vaping and they're just being obnoxious. That was the only downside to that whole thing. And my wife's short, like she's only 5'2", so like it was hard. It was hard for her to see also. They played some good songs. Oh.
We went to see this band Young the Giant, and it was like a standing room, and she couldn't see anything. I mean, when you're 6'2" or 6'3", and sometimes that's why for me I've always sadly I'm 6'3", so like when I'm at a concert I always feel bad going up close, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm 5'10", and even at the Kelly Clarkson concert, there was a few times because we were on the floor, we were only like 11 rows from the stage, and like I said, I mean, I'm 5'10", but there was a lot of women there that were shorter than me, and there was a couple girls behind me that were shorter than me, and I felt bad sometimes. I went back and forth. Sometimes I'd stand a little bit next to my wife, and then I would sit because I didn't want to block their view, and it's not really my thing anyway. Not that, like I said, I had a good time at the show, but like I'm not like, oh my God, I got to stand and see everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're there as a support system for her.
But yeah, I was really happy that Depeche Mode, they played some of their new stuff. They played a bunch of old stuff. They did Stripped, which was, oh man,
it's a great song.
So good. It was so good.
That song. That's a really awesome.
And like I said, I heard their live version of World in My Eyes is awesome. Oh man, it was so good.
Do, 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 do,
Oh,
do,
I
do,
love
do.
that freaking song.
Yeah, my dad, he probably burned through 5 Violator tapes, and honestly, I could say it's probably a huge groundwork to all of my music because all those songs on there, as you stated, I mean, of course, Personal Jesus, Enjoy the Silence, Policy of Truth, but there's a couple songs on there that are deeper than those songs
Yeah,
that are really good too on all their albums.
yeah.
I try to, diversify what I listen to, and they're really good at that diversion. Just like earlier, I brought up this song.
Oh yeah. Oh, my dad used to. So this song, my dad, when I was a kid, my dad used to play his music. He still has this old-fashioned stereo with these big box floor Philips speakers. They still work, but he used to play his music on them really loud. He had this old like CD chain. You pull the thing out, you got 5 things, you put 5 CDs in there, mix it up. So he used to. I remember he has that Chris Isaak album, man. I remember hearing that song blasting sometimes.
Well, do you remember I don't know if you remember the music video at all.
Yep.
That's what I remember my dad watching. He'd just be sitting there, and he was like it's some kind of trance, and I was like, "What is he watching?" And then I got older, and now I understand what he was watching because now I watch it. And it's a great video. Great song.
At work at the office last week. So I work for an orthotic prosthetic company, so I work with like practitioners and things like that. So my one practitioner that's at the office, he's always playing music real loud in the morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning. He's got like gangster rap blasting. He's got like his playlists are just all over the place. But he I think it played. It might have played. I don't think it played today. It definitely played 2 days in a row though. I think it was Monday, Tuesday. Wicked Game came on. So I remember sitting there at my desk. I'm going, "Oh, falling love."
What's great about this is it seems that when you came on, when we started a little while ago, you were like, "Yeah, the Phillies, they're down 2-1,
5-2 now."
Boy, it's up 5-2. That's why we're in good nature here. I felt that there was some positivity going.
Yeah, I saw the number change out of the corner of my eye.
Great.
I got it on mute on my monitor over here.
They're already my National League team, but
there you go.
That's one thing. Even back all the way, Chase Utley, before even when Ryan Howard.
Yeah.
The passion that I saw from the fans, man, when you
dude, I'm telling you, they're
Chicago. I mean, this is what, and I'm not going to say, but this is what we're supposed to be. And I hate to say that because you are, but that's why it's awesome that I've been able to, because always, I mean, passion, man. That's what's awesome about.
There's
baseball.
nothing like being at a playoff game in Philadelphia. I went to a playoff game for the first time in 2010. I went to one in 2011, and they were both losses. And then obviously they had that long streak where they weren't getting to the postseason. And then 2022, I went to 2 games. They won both of them. I went to an NLDS and an NLCS game. You remember that game that I'm sure you've seen the footage against the Braves? Hoskins slammed the bat down.
Oh yeah,
big bats. I was at that game. And then last year I went to the first wild card game against the Marlins, which was a win. And then I went to game 4 of the NLDS when the Phillies actually clinched to go to the NLCS. That was the first time I'd ever been to a clincher. It's exhausting. It's stressful. Your anxiety level is like through the roof.
The couple times I've just watched a playoff game that my team was in, I felt it, but I could imagine the later you go, the feeling it gets. And honestly, I like it and I don't like it. I like that feeling, but then that anxiety, man.
It's funny. I make fun of myself because I did this and it was just the dumbest thing. One of the games last year, the Phillies scored or did something happen, and I got so fired up in my living room that I literally did one of these like, and I pulled a freaking muscle in my back just from going like this, screaming. I had back pain for days.
Well, that's
But it was so worth it, though.
That happens. I
It's-
remember
it's-
watching the Bartman game with
Oh, yeah.
with some people, but I was like, you know what? Every time the Cubs score, I'm gonna bong a beer. So the Cubs scored what 10, 9, 10, and they lost. So I ended up bonging 9 or 10 beers and then like sitting there with a bunch of people who were upset because the Cubs lost drunk. So that's why that was 2001, or whatever.
It
That's
was 03, I think.
03 or whatever.
Yeah.
I forget about all of that. 2005 is the last time the White Sox won the World Series.
Yeah.
And this is probably going to be the last time that they win this World Series for quite some more time.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, yeah, I don't even think you're fun.
I was thinking about this driving yesterday. I was just thinking about the Phillies, how many times they've retooled or they stay. Real quick, what is it like to have a competent owner? How does it feel? Like, does it feel
I mean,
different? I got you here. I was always curious. How does that feel?
So obviously, this team has notoriously been worse. They've been more bad than good over their span. See, what happens is with the Phillies is they go through really long stretches of complete poverty, and then they go through a little stretch where they're like elite. So, back in the late 70s, they were really good. They were, they didn't get to the World Series until 80, but they made the postseason a couple times. They win the World Series in 80. They go to the World Series and lose to the Orioles in 83. And then from 83 to 93, they were trash. I'm sorry, from 84 to 92. 84 to 92, they were trash. 93, they weren't expected to do anything. And they basically went from like worst to first in 93. And then from 94, basically to 04, they were pretty much crap. 05 they were really close to competing. 06 they missed the wild card by a game. And then 07 they finally won the division for the first time since 93. And then from 07 to 2011 they were the best team in the National League. Not necessarily record-wise every year. They were in 2011 when they won 102 games, which is a franchise record, but 07 to 11 they won the NL East 5 straight years. It was funny. So they lost. They got swept by the Rockies in the NLDS in 07. They won the World Series in 08. They lost the World Series. So it's just, you're seeing the downturn to when they're going to start, becoming bad. So they win the World Series in 08. They lose the World Series in 09. They lose the NLCS in 2010. They lose the NLDS in 2011. And then they finish 500 in 2012. And then from 2013 to 2021, no playoffs. And then 2015,
they've had down.
2015, they were the worst team in baseball. They went 63 and 99 and wasted their number one pick on Mickey Moniak, who's now with the Angels. But
do you and your or your wife or any, do you got concerts that you're looking at that you hope to go to? Do the Phillies like Minnesota?
They do concerts. They do concerts.
Do they do concerts?
Yeah. They just had Morgan Wallen, country guy.
Oh.
He was just here like a couple days ago, or actually over the weekend, I think.
Really funny. What's funny is we got a country guy coming and I've never heard of him. You got a country guy coming and I've heard of Morgan Wallen. So at least
they got Riley Green coming. I think he's another country guy. Last year they had Shaq did his Diesel did a DJ set.
Oh really?
I've only been to one post-game concert. Well, I mean, they do concerts like when, in the summertime, like if the Phillies are on the road, like Billy Joel always comes here. Like I think Green Day was here one year. Bruce Springsteen, I believe, might have played there. But they do post-game concerts too. Sometimes it's a lot of like EDM artists, which I do like some electronic, dance music. So like a couple years ago, I don't know if you ever heard of Zed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he came. I actually stayed. I had tickets for that game, so I stayed for the concert afterwards. And I actually liked his stuff, so I started listening to him. So that's the thing. Like, I'm all over like death metal. I like some hip hop. I like EDM.
What sounds good? What sounds good for the moment? And that's what we always talk about here. It's what sounds good in that I don't know if you heard last year. I was pretty excited. It was a Friday night. They were having a little bit of an after. It was after the game. It was going to be Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, that was a touring thing with the stadiums because they came here too.
I don't know if you heard what happened, but
no.
A gun went off in the stadium.
Oh boy.
Well, what ended up happening is a gun went off in the stadium, but like it went off in the third inning. So, but they didn't empty the stadium.
How did it even get in?
After the game, everybody's like waiting now because now we're excited for the concert. And then over the screens it goes, concert canceled.
Oh,
sorry. So we leave, and then we start hearing, and then to this day, there is no answer from the Chicago police. There's no answer from the ownership of what happened. Some people, this is the story. Some people say that somebody snuck a little gun in, and then someone said that it came from outside, like over the thing. So, but the sad news of this story is I miss seeing Rob Van Winkle, I believe his name is Vanilla Ice, and I didn't get to do my ninja rap.
Man.
So it was, but these after concert things, they're a good way to bring the fans in.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I know there's some other. I think they're having. I think it's another EDM artist. Cascade.
That's who we had 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think he's going to be. I think guy. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. I'm guessing
it is.
They're coming here. They're doing an after one of the Phillies games this summer.
Yeah, if you like Zed, he's along those same. He's along that same.
Yeah, like so in terms of concerts in general, I don't think there's anything coming up that I don't have tickets to anything. I've always liked Tiesto.
Oh.
He always goes to Atlantic City. And Atlantic City is only like an hour away from me, or a little more than an hour. I was actually saying to my wife, I think he's there in July. And I feel like he comes there every year, and I've never gone to see him.
Well, that would be a good one to go see. Yeah. It's good, like you said, spread it out. You know, you saw Kelly Clarkson, Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
You see one of those, you're hugely wide variety.
It was funny. I was saying to my wife, I said, I can't believe it's already been 7 months since we went to that concert already.
That's why I
feel like it.
Way back then, I was like, man, we got to get together and talk about this concert. So I thought tonight would be an excellent wrap. Thank you for joining me, my man.
Yeah, man.
Time flew. We talked about wrestling themes, amazing Philly baseball, just a bunch of cool stuff. Always appreciate you coming on.
Anytime, man.
Well, we are wrapping up the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on episode 69. My name is Tony. Coming up this Friday, if you like baseball, we have at the show movie podcast, we're going to be talking about 10 of the worst baseball movies of all time. 10.
Nice.
So before we head out here, give me an awful baseball movie that you think is just awful. Don't feel bad.
Man.
If it's one that people may like, don't feel bad if it's one that everybody hates. Like real quick.
I guess if I had to, even though it's funny, I guess I got to go Benchwarmers.
That's mine. It's really on the list, folks. Folks, he picked one of my 5 picks. So if you're listening right now and you're going to be tuning in,
we just got to do that Spider-Man meme to each other.
That's it. That's how it always is. And what's great about this is we could just get in a room and do what we did now. We didn't even have to plan. It was awesome. So
best movie for me, Major League, but no, hands down.
2 weeks ago, we did the best ones, and that one was listed as one of the best ones.
Major League 2 is underrated. I do like Major League 2.
Yeah.
Back to the Minors was trash.
I got Air Bud. One of them, Air Bud will be on there somewhere. But tune in Friday. That's going to be at 8 p.m. Central Time. And then next Tuesday, we're going to be drafting some wrestlers in the roles of superheroes. So that's going to be fun. Everybody out there, have a good week. Take care. Thank you again, my main man, Sean.
Appreciate it,
we
man.
will definitely do this again soon. Thank you, everyone.